Are there any questions? Or, well, I popped in some of the rooms and people were like asking, how did you get people to volunteer and to participate? That was the hardest part, I think, initially, of course. Well, I approached more experienced teachers who I knew had to contribute to this and begged them, literally begged them. But once the first one happened, once the first teacher forum happened, then people saw that this was like a safe space and it would be really good for them to, they all had something really useful to share and to contribute to the group, let's say. Yeah. And also afterwards, after each session, I provided a list of reading sources or video sources that people could, follow up if they were interested, which came from the teachers. Some of them came from the teachers. Are there any questions or any comments or anything you would like to share?
I suppose one thing that's just occurred to me now is that because in our group we were talking about keeping momentum all year round, and particularly if you have the balance between returning teachers, permanent staff, different kind of profiles of teachers. And one thing that just occurred to me is that we can also bring in not just our kind of our EAP, pre-sessional hats on. We can also, many of us work in other things as well. So we're writers, we're item writers, we're assessors, we're examiners, we might be project managers, whatever we are, when we're not in the pre-sessional. And it is nice to kind of bring in those other experiences because they all add flavor and add maybe different perspectives on what we're doing in the programs.
Mm-hmm.
Something to
Sure. Is Lindsay saying? Yes, I agree, Lindsay. People need to be supported to lead the session. Yeah. That's why, I mean, the sessions are like 5-10 minutes long. And um, I don't know. I think, I don't know. What do you think about it? What do the others think about it? It is intimidating, but once they once they try it, and it's not like, I mean, there were 30 teachers in that pre-sessional. Most of them were returners, and they were the ones who volunteered first, the returner teachers. The new teachers found the confidence to come forward in the second teacher forum.
Evangelia, you've got your hand up. And then Apophia.
Well, sessions, judging from experience, what I experience as a CPD, sessions can be led by a group of volunteers rather than just one teacher. Mm-hmm. So organizing it also, it is easier. I mean, each one of the group members may be assigned a role, and it is also a teamwork, which always seems more complete, easier, more forward-looking, etc., more developmental, etc., etc.
I agree. That was the first time I did it. I had to design it, and it came all completely out of the blue. So it was, but everything I had heard, I had read in that slope beam really, matched my task at the time. So yeah, I think that in the future, if I am to do this again, I'm going to implement more ideas into the design. And that's a very good idea, actually, Evangelia. And Lindsay agrees. I think she also put something in the chat about doing something in pairs or threes. Yeah, yeah, that's a good idea.
Apophia, is that right pronunciation? You've got your hand up.
Yes, that's right.
Thanks.
In our room, we briefly touched on what CPD could mean for different teachers, and opportunities that can be informal as well as formal. So if, there is that aspect of feeling intimidated, leading, or falling into that top-down approach, whether opportunities are there for informal CPD, reflecting at the end of a pre-sessional. And I think I'm coming from it from the perspective of a pre-sessional teacher that I have been, rather than a designer of CPD.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I was saying in our room, we have informal opportunities in that we try and have people group together and work each week on lesson planning with their team leader so they can share maybe team plan or whatever, but also formal, more in induction. But we also had a scholarship conference day at our induction last year where we invited anyone that had anything they were doing, either from the pre-sessional or their context before, to present. And we had lots of people talking about all sorts of different things. Can you see the hands, Angelica? I think we've got Jack.
Sorry, Evangelia, Jack,
Jack
yes.
first.
Yeah, sure. It's just building on what has already been said. I think it can take different forms, and I think it's important for tutors, especially seasonal tutors, to have a clear idea of what forms are acceptable, because they might think that in order to give a CPD, you need an hour of material that is teacher-led, and that doesn't have to be the case at all. It can simply be discussion prompts that can be opened up to a whole group of tutors. And I think as well, just providing the space for tutors to come up with ideas about different aspects that are relevant to their courses can be really useful. So that could be something as simple as in your weekly meetings, having a breakout room space for 5 or 10 minutes where you might give the tutors, you could give them a specific question to talk about in relation to their own experience, or you could just get them to have a recap of their week so far and go through what the challenges they've faced or what anything that they've tried out that's new or worked well. That could prompt an idea in one of the tutors' heads to lead their own CPD. And then outside of that, you could have sub-channels on Teams where a cohort of tutors have that space to work on together, something that is not necessarily being monitored by the managers, or at least not being actively monitored, and they'll have that space to share ideas, ask questions together. So I think that can increase, what was the word, collegiality as well.
Yeah, I think it's this the all the ideas that they share in the corridors or in the kitchen, not the accommodation where they're staying, that was the idea, to make it in a more structured way so that they can share all those insights and check each other's assumptions, whether they agree or they have another suggestion. Yeah. Yes, and actually, what CPD stands for you is the very first. Marusa, do you remember? It's the very first thing I asked them, just to break the ice, like an icebreaker task. I asked Copilot to find some humor CPD, what CPD stands for in a humorous way, and it was like coffee. What was it? Anyway, there were like some hilarious interpretations, and people were like selecting which one matched their own style. Yeah, water cooler discussions or something. Yeah. Anyone else? Yeah, Usha?
Yeah, very nice discussions going on. It's really useful, all the tips that you're giving and others are giving as well. And what I like to, can you hear some background noise? Okay, that's gone
No,
now.
no, okay. I muted.
What we discussed, it's not my point, it's Matt's point. He was saying was because for the question, what could be to support or provide a barrier. So sometimes when you have returning CPD, returning pre-sessional tutors, and we have people who are new, then there will be something that is again and again and again dealt with. So for instance, criticality, that's been discussed and discussed and discussed, and then they don't want to engage with that. And then there is somebody who is thinking, but then like kind of tapping into that, giving them the center stage and not again preaching to the choir, like asking them to lead will kind of make them empowering and also think, oh, okay, there's this acknowledgement from the managers or from everybody else that I can also add value instead of always being sitting like this and hearing this for n number of years. Thank you. Basically tap into the team's resources, yeah, the strength of the team.
Matt?
I was wondering, just an idea to get more people interested in participating. If there's any way to promote peer observation, like drop-ins. So you have an agreement between teachers, they agree themselves that, okay, drop in on my class anytime, have a look at what we're doing. Does that raise any questions or do you have any observations? That could be, food for thought for their CPD sessions.
Yeah. That's a completely different story, I think there are other barriers to that. I don't know if Carol or Lindsay have any input on that.
But we have peer observations as built into our observation cycle. So they have formal ones, but so a formal one with an observer, and then the next year and year after they can do blind or peer. The main challenge with the peer ones is they're often teaching at the same time and they don't necessarily want to. We can cover the class.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to go and see Matt, I could cover your class as a team leader or course director, but they don't often want to leave their classes because they've got relatively few hours, but it can work. Oh yeah, it's a great idea I think the idea of seeing what comes up of that for observations is really good. For discussion is good, Matt.
Evangelia. Carol, can you read what she says? Because I can't catch up with that.
Yeah. Just adding to what Carol mentioned a few minutes before that. Each year we decide the theme, the topic of the conference, and so whoever of us who would like to present there, they have their research papers already, something, or they are interested in that topic and would like to research it a bit. Of course, it takes extra work, but at the end of the day, it is worthwhile doing it because we all learn from that. It's again co-construction of knowledge, I think.
I think with our conference, well, it was a day in induction. I think Adam, the course director, sent out an invite to everyone that had been accepted offers for work and said, do you fancy contributing? We had our own permanent year-round staff in the background and we did things as well, but we had a backup plan, but we didn't need it for everything. So ours was we needed sandwiches and coffee in the room.